for example, is one of those supervisor Sergeant Byers?
Yes, when I got on first shift, but prior to that, it was like Lieutenant Salchuk. I had Sergeant Chris Marriage.
Thank you. Okay, so let's focus on, because I get the time confused. I appreciate that. So one of those is Sergeant
Lieutenant.
Sawchuk, and she was a lieutenant at that time.
Yes.
Okay.
That was one of the other incident too. I was, I was being mistreated. I was the only one as far as that schedule. The only one being assigned to Zone 2. So Zone 2 is required 2 deputies at all times. And
how do you know that?
Because that was told to me by the scheduling lieutenant, which is Sawchuk. It was everybody know that, even everybody in the agency know at that time. Before it may have changed now, but when I was on patrol at the time, Zone 2 required 2 deputies no matter what. And so I was always scheduled, like during that winter stint. I came back from being sick on FMLA or something like that. I don't recall, it was vacation or something. I came back and I was the only one assigned to Zone 2 in a winter storm. And then on my days off, they were stationary 2 white deputies in Zone 2.
How did you learn of that?
They have schedules that's pre-written. They post schedules on the board in this portfolio in this binder. They post schedules in this binder so we can understand if we're gonna have our upcoming off days and stuff like that. So they go about 2 weeks out, sometimes a week out. And are
those schedules available to all the workers, or all the deputies?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a reason why you looked at the schedule at that time?
I always looked at this. I always look at the schedule, just to just know where I'm working in the future.
Okay. And when you learned that there were 2 white deputies assigned to that zone while you were out, did you complain about that at any time?
I did.
Who did you complain to?
I went to HR.
Okay. Do you know who at HR you went to?
It was Mary DeKaywitz and Valerie Spreewell with Gladney being there present.
Okay. And Mr. Gladney, he discussed that in his testimony yesterday. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
He did to an extent. He wasn't being truthful on certain parts of how the meeting actually went.
Okay. So why don't you had a meeting with HR, 2 HR people and Mr. Gladney, right?
Yes.
Okay. How did that meeting go?
So we had a meeting, and I presented them, my concerns that I was the only one on calls, on certain calls. I'm not talking about like a minor traffic stop or a simple call. It'd be gun calls, shots being fired, or autistic kid, for example, running in traffic. I'm on these calls alone that requires automatic backup. And I was on calls by myself. And then you got 2 white deputies on a simple call, a disabled vehicle off to the side.
If we could just stop for a second, because I think something I've misunderstood. When you're working in this zone on patrol, are you doing other things than taking crash reports?
Yes, you stopping speeders. You pull them over and there's probable cause. With probable cause, then of course you have to do what comes next. If they have a warrant, you arrest them if need be. If they're not saying
But okay, and maybe I'm just out of touch or don't understand. But there's situations where there's shootings on the freeway. Is that right?
Not on the freeway. It can be anywhere. A park, Milwaukee County Park, anything. Shots being fired on the freeway if you don't get there. No, on the freeway, normally everybody is like an automatic thing because we do a canvas so the supervisor be there. But I'm talking about like domestic violence in the vehicle, and Lieutenant Leslie got on the air. He got on the radio himself. Go back, Lucky up, because he was one of the lieutenants who knew about nobody backing me up. And just like Sergeant Chris Marriage, and then that interviews that I read through this discovery, they stated otherwise, like there was prepped or something.
Okay, but so and I guess I guess I just didn't understand that. So you're being called, in fact, to I would say all kinds of policing situations within Milwaukee County while you're on road patrol. Is that fair?
Correct.
Okay, so these zones don't necessarily include just a section of the highway.
No,
Now I understand. Okay, but then are there other deputies, are the road patrol deputies, are those the deputies that are out there for the county?
everybody assigned to a certain sector or zone. You know, normally the newer generation say zone, the older generation normally say sector. You know,
Okay.
it's just something they transitioned over to a different word, but you know, I can use both.
Okay, and so it's just when when it's patrol, I mean, this is like an active policing function here, and it's throughout the whole geography of the county. It's just broken up by different sectors or zones.
Correct.
Thank you for clarifying that. Okay. So in fact, this is, and I don't want to belittle any kind of policing, but this is the kind of policing to dealing with domestic violence situations, shooters. I mean, the Milwaukee policing.
Primarily, the main function of the freeway is to clear the freeway from, you know, for motors to be able to travel functionally without debris in the road, or you stop violators, and, you know, just, you know, keep the freeway smooth and going, you know, a good flow. But there's times where we are caught off the freeway to assist, or something happened on the freeway, a pursuit, and we have to tell them anything can happen. A crash can occur after a pursuit, anything of that nature. But yeah, we have to be, if we get called to it, we just be called to it.
I got it. So were you subject to any, were you called to any violent police scenes without any backup?
Yes, yes.
Did that routinely happen?
For me, it did. I always felt like I didn't have backup, especially on certain calls. Like we get crashes, a PI crash, we get crashes where injuries, kids being injured, or anything like that. And we in the Plainfield curve. I'm not sure if y'all know what the Plainfield curve is. It's one of our dangerous curves in Milwaukee County. Right there from Hope Street on 43, going around to Layton Avenue. You know that. Yeah.
But so there's danger from while you're doing policing in that area, there's danger from traffic as well.
Dangers of the traffic, because I can be struck, because going around the curve, we need multiple deputies and squad cars set up to let the oncoming traffic, the ones that's beyond the curve, let them know, hey, there's a deputy doing the crash scene. Be careful, slow down so you won't hit this deputy or whatever's in traffic.
Okay, but there's times where you were asking for help but not receiving it.
Correct.
Okay, do you know why you weren't receiving it?
I'm not sure. It's because the color of my skin is I was the only black person out there, and all the whites were easily backing each other up. You know, and like I said, Lieutenant Leslie and Sergeant Chris Narich, they got on the radio themselves, and I believe they will testify to that. And I went to them, I begged them, like, please give me help.
Okay, and this is while there's a ongoing police investigation. You're begging for help.
Correct.
Okay, I got it. So
And it was one time I said, you know what? It was a time before I was able to say anything. Lieutenant Leslie got on the air himself. Go, and he yelled at everybody on the radio, "Go back, Lucky up!" And I definitely appreciated Leslie doing that. But when he's off of work, the issues still continue. He got vacation, he have off days. He's not always there. So when the white people that are doing right, not always there to police everybody, but you expect us being sworn and under oath and supposed to protect and serve and look out for each other. I wasn't getting that same treatment.
okay, and now you've heard testimony here about a roll call meeting in which you told people that if they weren't going to help you, then you didn't want their help, right?
Yes.
Okay, were you having problems getting back up before those before that roll call meeting?
There was definitely issues before that, and that statement wasn't true. They said I said I don't have nobody come to my scene. I would never put my livelihood at risk, and I have kids.
Okay, let me ask you this. Was there ever a time when you were at a scene of a investigation and without backup that you feared for your safety?
I say that again.
Was there ever a time when you were at a scene of an investigation, criminal investigation, you're asking for backup, not receiving backup, and you're fearing for your safety?
Yeah, it was a couple times I feared for my safety, with the lack of help. You know, and that's what I fear the most, just being out there by myself.
Okay. On the lack of help thing, we've had testimony about, I think Mr. Brad Lasilla, he was aware of this issue, right?
Correct.
Okay. What other management personnel at the sheriff's department were aware of your complaints that you weren't getting backup because of your race?
The entire agency, because I wrote a email. I wrote an email specifically to Sergeant Byers, Chris Nerich, Lesla, the entire agency, you know, just to put them on notice that, hey, I need help, you know, and it's from, I'm being mistreated due to diverse issues. And the reason, let me clarify this, because in that report, I seen Byers was trying, she used the word discrimination. She knew it was a race-based complaint. It just, I was careful with my words writing that email. I try to be professional as possible because I was told by Sergeant Gladney, be careful how you use the race word. So diverse, if y'all hear diverse issues or lack of diverse, it's me calling, crying out for help due to race discrimination. So anytime you read any of my posts and say anything about diverse issues, just means race.
Okay, and just back that up for me for a second. You're telling me that Mr. Gladney is helping you with making your complaints, right?
Correct.
Okay. And part of the advice that he's giving you is what?
Be careful how you use the race word. Don't just put race, because it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a bigger problem.
Why did he say why?
Because he said they will come after me by using that word, and you know, they don't like anybody claiming race. So I try to make it as professional as possible by saying diverse issues, you know, equal, you know, equality and things like that. So I had to use those terms to soften up. Maybe they will come help me if I use these kind of terms, because that's what I was really feeling.
Okay, so you were being pressured by Sergeant Gladney not to identify race as your primary concern in your complaints. Is that true?
Correct.
Okay.
Because if he never told me, I would have used the direct word race.
Okay. And he, to be clear, although Mr. Gladney is also the president of the union, he had a supervisory role too, right?
Correct.
Okay. And he also identified, correct me if I'm wrong, that you would, if you used race-based language in your complaints, you would be retaliated against.
Correct.
Okay.